Yo, what's up out there? This is Chris from Hair Loss from Steroids, and I wanted to shed light on a subject and a question that guys, ask a lot because it can be very distressing. And they want to know, does minoxidil speed up hair loss? And the answer to that is yes, but no. And we're talking about really any minoxidil product. This is the Kirkland one. This is the one that I recommend, Lipogain, because it's awesome and it has azelaic acid, which inhibits DHT. But anyway, if you haven't used minoxidil before and you put it on and you go about your business and stuff like that, within about 2 weeks or sometimes as late as 1 month, you'll notice possibly, not every guy, but an increase in hair loss. And that can be very distressing because guys are using minoxidil to prevent hair loss and possibly get some regrowth. So it is very discouraging when that happens. I want to say though that it's what happens. Not to everybody, but it's completely normal. A lot of guys think because of the extra hairs they're losing that, oh shit, minoxidil isn't working, it sucks and this kind of stuff. That is not evidence that it's not working. Actually, it's evidence that it is working. And real quick, this is what happens when you put minoxidil on your head. You haven't used it before, it shifts hairs, really the majority of hairs it comes into contact with, into the anagen phase, and that is the growth phase. And it will shift hairs that are in the telogen phase, which is the resting phase, to the anagen phase. But it will shift hairs in the anagen phase into a hyperactive anagen phase, and they will shed. And that's the key word now, shed. It's not androgenic alopecia. It's not hair loss by definition, male pattern baldness from DHT. Shedding is simply the hair sheds. Really no more basic way to put that. It comes out, and then within a period of probably about 4 weeks after, it regrows. I mean, the regrowth starts right away, but you'll notice it 4 weeks after or so. So it's completely normal if you just started minoxidil and you're getting the shedding. Stick with it. Seriously, don't pitch it in the trash. Don't stop. This is evidence that it is working. It will come back for you. Seriously. I've used minoxidil and stopped for periods of times, and I do get a moderate shedding phase. Don't panic. It will be back, and the hairs will likely be somewhat thicker because you can get some regrowth with minoxidil. Now, I wanted to tell you about how I used it last summer, starting around right this time a year ago. Basically, I took a generic minoxidil, it was this one in fact, and basically put it on my head 24/7, and that meant about 4 or 5 times a day. And you probably don't need to use it for some results more than once or twice a day, but I just wanted to try this, and I was going to put it on my head all day, and I mean, reasonably there were periods when I didn't have it on, if there was a chick over or something like that, but basically it started doing really good things for me. Throughout 28 weeks that I record, and I'll post a little link to my experiment below, I get significant regrowth. Around the areas that didn't have hair, some around my hairline and stuff like that, there was peach fuzz that came up. Now I'm not really counting that, but it is it is an indicator that it was working. And other areas that where it was just slightly thinning, filled in pretty good. Mainly the top, also in here and stuff like that. It was a little thin, but yeah, over 28 weeks, it certainly grew back. One thing I noticed about minoxidil, because long ago, when I wasn't as wise, I used to think it was just bullshit. Rogaine lobbied the FDA for a patent on it, and they got it, and they marketed it really well. I mean, not unlike a lot of hair loss products, but when I picked it back up 3 years ago, I was putting it on consistently because the price is very cheap on this. It certainly has gone down. I was putting it on consistently, and I noticed in the shower I was losing a lot less hair, significantly less. Then I came across a study by the International Hair Restorations International Hair Restoration Surgeon Society. Wait, I'll post it below. I'm sorry. That told me the study went like this. Guys used minoxidil for 12 months, and when they started, they measured a hair loss count in the shower, and that averaged among, I think, about 100 guys, 69.7. At the end of 12 months, that number had dropped to 33.8. So guys basically within 1 year of using minoxidil lost or stop their hair loss in the shower by about half. And that is pretty dramatic. And I noticed that too. I was losing probably about 50 hairs. It's hard to count. 3 years ago when I started, and that cuts down to around 20. So I can definitely vouch for that. It does prevent hair loss in general, and then I noticed it significantly when I was showering, that I was losing a lot less. So ever since then, I've used it to this day. This is the one I recommend. Lipogain, like I said, has azelaic acid, which inhibits DHT. So if you're getting the minoxidil shedding phase, stick it out, guys. Seriously, it'll be worth it. And consistently use minoxidil. It's one thing that, it's a lifetime commitment. So I'm not thinking that, you expect it to like douse your head in it 24/7. Ideally, the generic minoxidils, they're cheap, they're inexpensive, they work. The only problem with them is they're pretty oily and they don't dry very quickly. Whereas the higher quality formulas like Lipogain and Spectral, they dry in about 5 minutes and you can style your hair as you were. So, you're picking from both. If I have to do what I'm doing these days too, Lipogain in the morning or when you're going out or something like that, and then at night, the Kirkland thing because it's a little oily, but it makes it more cost effective. So, stick it out on minoxidil. It's pretty good. Make sure you're doing something about the DHT. Ideally, ketoconazole shampoo, which would be Region Pure. That's my recommendation. Azelaic acid in the minoxidil formula, the high quality one. And, do your homework on Propecia. I take it, specifically Proscar, 1.25 milligrams of finasteride every other day. And that works good too. I know there's a lot of scare out there about that, but I do use it. I haven't had any side effects. And yeah, I'll talk about that more later. But that's basically what I use. You can find out my whole stack or whatever at Hair Loss from Steroids. And I hope this helps you out because this stuff certainly has for me.